Hi everyone. Today I came up with a different agenda. It's going to be about IBM API Connect version 10. IBM released this newer version of IBM API Connect a couple of weeks before with a lot of features in it. In this video, I'm going to talk about two predominant features. The first one is GraphQL support provided in the newer version, and the second one is the debugging and tracing facilities provided. So instead of talking about all the features in one video, so I just took two, and I'll give you more details about it. Let's get on to the topic of discussion. Okay, so now what you're seeing is the IBM Cloud Manager. If I need to correlate with the earlier version, I would call that as a Cloud Admin Console, right? And if you look at it, the UI is completely changed. IBM has adopted to a new UI framework called Carbon Gatsby, and even if you look at IBM Cloud, it is adopted to this particular UI framework. I have also configured this instance. If you look at it, topology is already in place. Nothing has changed. The one that you were doing in the past remains same. All you need to do is creating a data power analytics and portal and configure it the way that you were doing, and we have to have a provider organization in place, which is nothing has changed. With this provider organization, I could able to log into the API manager. If you look at it, there's a provider organization. The UI is again the same UI theme, UI framework, nothing has changed. But if you take a close look at the home page, you might notice something called download toolkit. Here, when you try to open it, it will allow you to download the CLI or CLI plus other features. So I would suggest you to download this, depends upon your development environment. API Designer is a developer tool where you can develop your API in an offline mechanism. And in step 2, you're supposed to download the credential. Credential contains the sensitive information required to connect to this particular API manager and the command to run on your CLI to connect to the API manager. So which is fairly straightforward and simple. You can do it. Let's move on to how to make use of the API Designer. So I have already downloaded, and I'm just going to open that. The moment you open it, it will ask you for a directory, the workspace, right? Let me open up the workspace. Okay, so I'm opening my workspace. The moment you do so, using this API Designer, I've already connected. If you want another cloud, all you need to provide is the API, manager URL. So you might be knowing when you install API Connect for management component, you're supposed to provide 4 ingress endpoints. So one of that ingress endpoints is API Manager, which you're supposed to provide, right? And if you look at on right top corner, it can also help you to do the work offline. So for time being, I don't want to connect to this cloud. Let me start using the offline mechanism, assuming I don't have a connectivity, right? What I can do is connectivity to the cloud. Okay, so I can go to the develop, and I'm just going to create an API. Wait a minute, right? Am I doing something wrong? Because when I wanted to show you the capabilities of GraphQL, I need to have a GraphQL server somewhere up and running, right? So let me show you what I've done for that. I have used this Trevor Blade's countries API, which is public GraphQL API for information about the countries, you can very well clone the code and run it. This is what I have set it up in my machine. So I'm going to run it. So the moment I do so, it is running. I have a playground. This is the beauty of GraphQL. I don't want to talk about how to implement and all, but I have already installed and configured the GraphQL server implementation, which would provide the country's details. So in this, I just wanted to show you 3 queries. Can you get me the list of country code, and the name of the continent code and the name? So yeah, you can get, and list of countries in the continent. You can do that. Maybe just to maybe native, just to show you that I'm running it currently. And details of the country. So maybe currency, or belongs to which continent. I know I have done the mistake. It says get the name of the continent this country belongs. Okay, now you can see I wanted to get the details of India, and it belongs to which continent. So now I have my backend application up and running. I'm going to copy this URL. Going to API designer. First I need to provide my countries is API. Okay, this will not work. My countries schema. It will fail because I'm not a GraphQL expert. I just created quickly something for this demo. If I try to do a next, it will fail. Okay, so now it says I'm not able to fetch the schema from the online. I don't know how to create a GraphQL implementation which would help you to provide the schema. So what I did is I used the same UI. There's a playground here. By expanding the schema, it will allow you to download the schema. Okay, so the moment you do so, you need to download this SDL schema definition language, right? Okay, I have downloaded the schema. If you look at it, this is the schema. I can upload the schema into my API designer. Okay, let me do that by clicking on upload. If I go to downloads, I have renamed that file as countries schema.graphql. I just renamed it. Right. GraphQL schema has been successfully validated. Say uploading it. I just wanted to leave these things. This is the standard. You can by clicking on these links, you can understand what is the standard introspection GraphQL editor. And GraphQL editor is nothing but an editor similar to this kind of features and functionality, that is GraphQL editor. So let's not get in there. Leave everything to default and say next. So now let us switch the tooling. I've shown you how to use this offline. Even you can do it using connect to the cloud, but let me show you. We have done halfway through here, and how to do the other half in this. So now going back to API Manager, add API, right? Instead, what you can do is existing Open API. Then it'll ask you from there. I can pick it up. Let me, where I've created my country's API. This is the API which is saved in my local machine. So I'm going to open that. So YAML is validated. Click on next. I don't want to activate the API. Just say next. Okay, now edit API. Okay, so here you have seen design, source, assemble, GraphQL schema. So whatever that you have seen here, you get to see here as well. And now there are, you know, options for you to update the schema if you want, or you can directly go for the testing. So just because there are 3 warnings, let me see whether we can apply those changes. It is just a suggestion. Just say apply. It was changed. I'm going to save it. The moment it's saved, yes, I'm going to change by applying the other warning suggestion. Save it. Yep. You may wonder why I'm doing this. I could have done apply all. So you have other option as well. Okay, so now all the changes done. Now we are moving on to the most awaited feature. In the previous version, you might have seen, if you go to assemble, it helps you to do the testing by clicking on the play button. Now you have 2 options. Either you can do the testing here. This is the okay, let me show you. You have option 1 here and option 2. By clicking on this, it will go to online. Online means it activates the API and it will prepare for you to do the testing. So let me show you here. If I do so, it clearly says this panel is deprecated and it will be removed soon. So do you want, I don't want to continue the older fashion, but I want you to show the new feature. If I say online, see, preparing and then validating, saving, and then it publishing. So it will publish it to the sandbox for you to do the unit testing locally. The moment it has become online, you get to see endpoints on the test. Okay, so just take a look at the endpoints. This is the endpoints which will be given to the consumer of the API and the test. Okay, so here as I told you, the way I have implemented the GraphQL, it's not up to the mark because I have done 2 implementation. One is the countries. I can show you other one. I don't know what is the difference I have created. I'll come back to the bottom part later. The first thing that you need to notice, it is support only get and post. Other put and delete will not be supported. The get and post is what you can try. I would suggest you to start with the post. Right here, there is a problem that you are supposed to provide GraphQL. Right. The moment is a post, you need to provide a body. Before you provide a body, you need to provide a header, content type. The content type is application GraphQL. This is a bit tricky. You have an option to do graph application JSON or application GraphQL. GraphQL is the easiest one. I can show you what is the data we are supposed to provide in the body here. Okay. For that, Let me take the simpler one. Let us get the continent's code and the name, right, which is working. I'm going to copy this as it is, right, and coming back to this, I'll just say paste. Here also it should work, right, but for some reason the schema is not loaded properly here in the test environment. That is due to the mistake I might have done in my implementation. It's nothing to do with the tool, but other implementation it works. So I'll show you that. For time being, just be patient. Let's take a look at uh, how we can execute this particular query. Right, the moment you do so, okay, it ran and status is 200. This is what we were talking about, tracing functionality. Let me go deeper a bit. This is the assembly flow that has been executed, and you get to see the details of the data at every stage by clicking on every policies one, right? Here again there is advanced button. Say for example here, you have call this invoke parsing, the response, validate and analyze. So by clicking on advanced, you get to see the details, right? It also gives you the complete trace. Say for example, it provides the context information, properties, right? It gives whole bunch of information about uh, the data that has been passed from one policy to the another policy. You can do uh, you can by switching this button to advanced, you can get to see all the details. Okay, this is the new functionality that has been provided in this new feature. So now um, let me tell you how can we make use of this, right? What is the problem? I don't want to talk about what is the problem that I have created, but instead this portion, this GraphQL is one of the beautiful tool in this test environment. Maybe I can show you another implementation where this is working. So I have another GraphQL implementation. Okay, so here can you see the this is a completely different one. Here what query I can execute, I can get the list of accounts. So by putting on command control space will give you the accounts, right? I want to get the name of an account, and control space will give you the first name. So this is a beautiful tool which would help you to build the query here only. So in my the countries implementation, I had some problem in my implementation, hence the schema was not loaded properly in this particular API manager. I mean, there is another angle to it. I'll talk about it shortly, but this is another tool, which would help you to build your query during the development only as a part of testing. Similarly, say for example, I can say there is a mistake I told you. So GraphQL, and let's say content type as application GraphQL, right? If I invoke this, right, it will throw some exception, I know, but by here you get to see the results here only. right? Ensure post GraphQL and whatever the query that you have put it here, you just put and rerun it just to show you. Maybe say for example, what is the 3 specific days, right? Date and the occasion. Just build the query and put it here. You can see the results right away here, right? So you get to see the the details. Similarly, you can see the trace of the flow. So in summary, this is the beautiful tool. It purely depends upon the way you have implemented your GraphQL implementation, right? So now you have seen in one of the implementation I have, I don't know what I've done. It works nicely. I could able to get the schema here, but in the countries one here it is not working. Okay, leaving that aside, let me my country's API I want to deploy. So when you say publish, you need to have a product. So I'll just create one product, new product. I would say my just provided the name, clicked next. I choose my country's API, next. Here you can choose the rate plans. I'll go with a default. I don't want to publish it, right? I want to stage and then publish later. Say done. My country's product, let me stage. It'll ask you in which catalog. I have 2 catalogs. One name, I don't want to do it in the sandbox. I want to publish it in the retail. So now it is staged. Go to manage and then go to retail and say publish. Now the product is published, and I also created a developer portal. I'm just refreshing the developer portal to see my country's product comes. So coming here, see my country's APIs. From the developer perspective, this testing and debug tool is provided in the portal as well. If you go to try it, you get to see this GraphQL. Here the funniest thing happened is now I'm wondering whether I have done a right implementation or a wrong implementation, right? So now here also you can test it before you subscribe to the API. You can test it. Just because I have disabled the security, I could able to test it right away, right? I can run the query here itself, right? So maybe just to show you, come here and put it the list of continents, right? And maybe we can get the list of country details in the Asia continent. Just put here. Okay, this is too good, but how do I call this API? Let me show you. So I have the REST client, and this is the URL demo mart, right? So I'm just copying it, putting it here in the, and if you look at the content type, I have this content type as application GraphQL, and the code is get the details of the country where the country code is IN. Okay, so looks like I've got the data. So now we have got the data. Say for example, this is the endpoint which will be published to the developers. They can use it. This is the end of this demo. I hope you might have understood the new features well and good. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a nice day, and let me come back with other new features shortly. Thank you so much. Take care. Stay safe. Bye.